You know that historical fact you love to drop at parties to sound smart? Yeah, chances are it's complete nonsense. Today we're not correcting history. We're beating it senseless. We're tearing apart 33 of the most stubborn lies ever dressed up as historical truth. Brace yourself. Reality's about to take a hit. 1. Napoleon was short. No, he wasn't. The man was around 5'7", which was perfectly normal for his time, even slightly tall. The whole short Napoleon thing was one of the most successful smear campaigns in history. British newspapers constantly portrayed him as a tiny, rage-filled tyrant. Add a unit conversion mix-up between French and British measurements, and boom, a legend was born. Napoleon wasn't short. He was a victim of bad PR. 2. Christmas on December 25th. That date wasn't divine. The Bible never says when Jesus was born. In fact, details like shepherds in open fields point more towards spring. So why December? Because Rome already had Saturnalia, a massive week-long festival of chaos, food, and drinking. The early church didn't cancel the party. They rebranded it. History's smoothest corporate takeover. 3. Gladiators constantly fighting to the death. Hollywood fantasy. Death happened, but it was rare. Gladiators were insanely expensive. They were the superstars of their time. You don't throw away $1 million investment in one match. Most fights ended on points, skill, or first blood. 4. The pyramids were built by slaves. Wrong. They were built by paid, skilled laborers. We've found their villages, their graves, even evidence of medical care. They were paid in bread, meat, and beer. This wasn't slavery. It was the biggest construction project on Earth with surprisingly good benefits. 5. Vikings wore horned helmets. Nope. That image was invented in the 1800s by an opera costume designer. And the filthy barbarian stereotype? Also wrong. Vikings were obsessed with grooming. Combs, razors, tweezers, everywhere. English writers actually complained Vikings were too clean and dangerously attractive. 6. Cleopatra was Egyptian. Not even close. She was Greek. Completely. Her family descended from one of Alexander the Great's generals. For 300 years, they lived like Greeks in Egypt. Cleopatra's genius move? She bothered to learn the Egyptian language. Pure political brilliance. 7. A cow burned down Chicago. It didn't. That story was invented by a journalist. Poor Irish immigrants made easy scapegoats. The real cause of the Great Chicago Fire is still unknown. 8. Medieval women were helpless. Lazy myth. Noble women ran estates and castles. Urban women ran businesses. Widows could become some of the most powerful people in town. Not equality, but far from powerless. 9. Spartans threw weak babies off cliffs. Almost certainly false. The story comes from writers centuries later. Archaeology doesn't back it up. Sensationalism does. 10. Humans lived with dinosaurs. No, dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago. Humans showed up around 2 million years ago. That's not a small gap. That's an entirely different planet. 11. Wild West duels at high noon. Movie nonsense. Real gunfights were chaotic, drunk, and unfair. Most people got shot from behind. 12. Viking ship funerals at sea. Almost never happened. Ships were insanely valuable. They didn't set them on fire for drama. 13. Newton and the apple. The apple didn't give him answers. It gave him questions. The real work took years of brutal mathematics. 14. People didn't all die at 30 in the Middle Ages. The average was low because children died young. If you survived childhood, Living to 60 wasn't unusual. 15. Pirates made people walk the plank. Mostly fiction. Real pirates were practical. They killed you quickly and moved on. 16. Medieval people never bathed. False. Bathhouses existed. Soap existed. They weren't filthy, just cold. 17. Thumbs down meant death in Rome. Probably the opposite. A thumb down likely meant mercy. 18. Ninjas dressed in black. Theatrical invention. Real ninjas dressed as farmers, monks, or merchants. Black outfits came from stagehands in Japanese theater. 19. Catherine the Great died with a horse. Disgusting lie. She died of a stroke. The rumor was political assassination. 20. Edison invented the light bulb. No, he perfected it and built the system to sell it. That was his real genius. 21. The Trojan horse. Probably metaphor. Maybe a siege engine, maybe an earthquake story. Not a literal wooden horse. 22. Henry Ford invented the car and assembly line. He didn't. He weaponized efficiency. 23. King Arthur, almost certainly a legend. A mashup of folklore and fantasy. 24. Pirates buried treasure. Rarely. They spent it immediately. 25. Romans always wore togas, only for ceremonies. Daily life meant tunics. 26. Croissants are French, originally Austrian. France just perfected the crime. 27. People dumped waste from windows constantly. Exaggerated. Cesspits existed. 28. The White House was painted white after being burned. Nope. It always white. 29. Titanic was marketed as unsinkable. The company never said that. The media did, after it sank. 30. Atlantis. Plato made it up. A philosophical warning, not history. 31. Napoleon shot the Sphinx's nose. Impossible. The nose was gone long before him. 32. Blackbeard was a bloodthirsty monster. He was a marketing genius. Fear was his weapon. 33. 300 Spartans versus 1,000,000 Persians. There were thousands of Greek allies, and the Persian army was massive, just not that massive. Still heroic, just less cinematic. And that's it. Now be honest. Which one have you argued about confidently and completely wrong? You've officially escaped fake history. Your payment is a like. Subscribing is insurance. You know what to do.